Welcome to the Cherry Picker, the horror movie podcast where we like to kill people, but not really. I'm your host, Zach Cherry, and with me, brand new to the podcast, is
Tim McKay from New York City.
from New York City.
From New York City,
Very,
live.
very glam, very flashy. And today we are talking about Scream 2 Redux. This is the second time this has been discussed on the podcast. This is all leading up to the release of Scream 7, which comes out in 45 days or something like that. At this point, Scream 2 was released December 12th, 1997. And it's probably my favorite of the franchise. I mean, it is. And I think
Yeah.
it's yours too, right?
Rewatching it, absolutely. Because I think the last pod I was conflicted and I was like, oh no, rewatching it, I was sucked right back in. I felt like I was 13 again, and I just loved it so much.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah. So
favorite.
just cards
It's
on the
just the
table.
best.
This
It's
is
just
this is gonna we're basically going to be jerking Scream 2 off for the entire
yeah.
podcast
It's
because
fun and it's like the music video like there's music in it, there's like fun vibes. It ends on a happy fun note. It's just a
yeah.
different
Does
vibe.
it end on a happy fun note?
Yeah, because it's like that song, like she said, and
Oh,
feeling quiet. It's just
but
this
it's
whole happy vibe.
but the music might be, but like the vibe of what's
Oh,
going on is a little bit it's there's an
she's completely alone,
incongruity.
walking away by herself. Yeah,
Her friends and boyfriend are dead as far as she knows. Dewey
her life's ruined.
is dead as well. Yeah, it's like it's
She
not a
won't be starring
great.
in a school play, I'll tell you that.
She doesn't even have that anymore. But she did get to give Cotton, his moment. So, maybe she
Mm-hmm.
felt good about that.
Yep,
Um, but yeah, we should get into all that
yep.
definitely because there's a lot to talk about with Scream 2. But let's chat about Scream 7 real quick because I think that's what we'll do for every one of these movies until it's finally released and just sort of talk about our anticipation or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Or, even within the chat that's going on in the live stream right now as we record this, what people's perception is or just like how they feel. Because, I mean, at the time of this recording, like it is a Monday night. So who knows if something is going to change tomorrow by the time we dropped this episode, but there has not
Mm-hmm.
been a second trailer,
Yep.
which
Just
is becoming very disconcerting for a lot of people.
and if anything, it's just causing a lot of YouTubers to create so many videos like claiming theories of what they think is going on behind the scenes and I think and I don't know, just so much drama behind it. They're worried that like maybe people didn't like the previews of the movie and so that's why they're afraid and maybe they're doing reshoots. I don't know. I feel like that's so extreme, but I don't
Oh,
know. I mean, who knows? But
interesting.
there's just like my point is just there's so many theories being shot out there right now of what it could possibly be. Because
Yeah, I
it's weird
mean,
that they're not promoting it. Like they're promoting movies now that are coming out in April. So why are they promoting a movie coming out next month?
yeah, I mean, well, technically, we did get the first trailer, so I don't know if like movies that are coming out in April have had second trailers, but I always said that like the first trailer for Scream 7 felt off to me in a sense that it didn't feel like a teaser. It felt like we had already should have got a teaser, and then this was just sort of like filling in the blanks of just like, contextualizing what the premise was a little bit more. So. I don't know. It's just you look back at Scream 6, which is not one of my favorites by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel that the marketing campaign for that movie was extraordinary. Like they did
Huge.
they did such a beautiful job of getting us all amped up. Like they released like partial scene of like the subway to just sort of like really like get us in the mindset like New York City and
Yeah.
like we had the cast posters and stuff. So I mean, watch. It's all gonna come out this week, and people are gonna be listening to this and be like, "Told you so," or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's all well and good. But I feel like if there is a moment in like this leading up to Scream 7 where they need to like the last possible second where they need to start releasing more promotional material, it would be this week that is this is released. So it's just like the week
Oh,
of like
100%.
January 12th of 2026 six 26. What the fuck? What
26.
year is it? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hope so. And like I'm wondering if maybe they're just like, okay, how should we market this thing? I guess when they were like doing, when they're doing Scream 6, New York City is the big pull, and when they did Scream 5, it was like we're back. So Scream 7, it's kind of like they've already been hammering home Sydney Prescott like so much.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like they've already beat that horse to a bloody pulp. So I don't know, maybe they just don't know what other angle yet, like to
Yeah.
promote and like what else they could do. Because I'm already worried. Like I don't want to see too much. Like I feel like we saw a lot of them of like they're chasing through the walls. Her with her daughter, like the whole like shoot him, like that whole scene. I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't want to see this. I don't want to see any of this. But
Yeah, no, that's
also,
I mean I still wish they would just go back to like the Scream 3 trailer model of like just the bare minimum
hmm,
and like to get us hyped. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think like trailers got a trailer, but
Well, I think
I
for Primate, for example, I think Primate had, like showed stuff in the trailer, but I also when I was watching it, I didn't feel like I knew where the movie was going. Whereas Scream 6, I
mm,
feel like I knew exactly what was coming next, kind of thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, not to get too much into Scream 6, but like that movie like had a kind of like a feel to it. Everything was happening like very unpredictably. It was like kind of a crapshoot of like what could happen next, but then it got to a point where the unpredictability of it just became very predictable because there wasn't really like any causation that was leading the story, and it was just sort
Hmm.
of like random set pieces back to back
Yeah.
until like leading to the end that you just there's like an inevitability to it. Um, so I don't know. I still have to see Primate, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
recommend.
I mean, I'm seeing Scream 7 regardless,
Oh,
obviously.
opening night, opening
It's
day, early
the
showings.
yeah, I think like the concern, if people have a concern at this point, is more of just like more casual film goers in terms of like like what is the reach for whatever promotion that they're doing? Is it going to like bring in droves of people who aren't really familiar with the franchise but just want to like see a horror movie or whatever? Because like you get to a
Hmm.
point and like this has always been an issue if you have a movie with a number in it and that number is like a really high number, less people are going to see it because it's like, well, do I have to watch 1 through 6 to understand this? And
Hmm.
people don't really, especially in this day and age, want to prioritize doing any of that. Um, and then part of me thinks that their Paramount is maybe being a little complacent and similar to what happened with Scream 4 where Miramax just sort of like fell back on the laurels of like we have a successful franchise like Screams 1 to 3 did incredibly well, so we don't have to work very hard at this point 11 years later to push people to go see this movie. And then that blew up in their face because Scream
Big
4,
mistake.
yeah,
Yeah.
like obviously did not have such a grand scale marketing promotion behind it, and that ended up I think being the lowest grossing film of the franchise. So I mean like is that going to happen again here? But this might all be so premature, so
Yeah.
we'll
We'll give it
see.
another week. We'll see what we say next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we will get into the Scream 2 of it all, but and I got to remember this time. So before any of that, I want to talk about Patreon. And Patreon is a little fun place where if you've never heard of it, you can go and support creators alike. And if you want to support this podcast or me as a YouTuber, you can head over to patreon.com/Zach Cherry. And as a Patreon supporter, you get a lot of fun things. Like you'll be able to join us every Monday night as we record these live streams and be in the chat here and interact with us and push back or just tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that because you're just going to tell us how much you agree with all of our opinions instead. But whatever works best for you. So there's that, and then also once a month, you will get to nominate and vote upon a movie that you want us to talk about. So the nominations are already going on. I think at this point, I'll put the poll up and you can figure out what to vote for. And that's always fun. You never know what it's going to be. And we never know, obviously. But there's just lots of other fun little perks of being a supporter on Patreon. So go check it out. And
Yeah.
having said that, I do want to shout out some top tier people. So to the Michael Myers tier, thank you to Kyle Beard, Sam Levy, Ellie Hamoosh, Shane Allingham, Tim McKay, who's right here with me, Horror Slut 95, Traj 125, Austin Hall, Billy's mother is actually the name of this person. Cara Day, Michael Boswell, Defcon, Michelle Hughes, and then thank you to the Ghost Faces, Eric Champney, Daniel Saturn, Stephanie Starbright, Baby Ghoul, Garrison Nichols, Craig Lynn, Josh Burrow, and Brian James. Thank you very much for all your support. You guys are, all of you, all on Patreon, are keeping this engine running, and we appreciate you for that. Tim,
Yeah, and as
you,
someone who has been a Patreon supporter of yours for years now, it's always been great following
oh,
you.
thank you.
So I definitely recommend it to everybody because you have a lot of fun stuff on there. You can go back and there's just like it's such an easy catalog. Find, oh my God, my cat. Um, yeah, so it's great
Appreciate the endorsement.
for
Do
sure.
you have a premise for Scream 2 in case nobody knows what the hell this movie's about?
Oh yes, so we have a premise this time. Hmm. 2 years after the Woodsboro murders, Sydney Prescott is trying to rebuild her life as a college student, only for a chilling new wave of killings to erupt around her. This time, the violence seems tied to a movie based on her own trauma, blurring the line between fiction and reality. As fear spreads across campus, familiar faces and new suspects collide. Secrets resurface, and the rules of survival become more dangerous than ever. Sharper, bigger, and more self aware, Scream 2 raises the stakes while asking how well can you really outrun the past? That's from ChatGPT.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
I was like, give me a summary without spoiling anything of Scream 2 in it.
Oh, nice.
Love
I saw this
ChatGPT.
reel on Instagram, and it was this dude. He was like showing that like ask ChatGPT how to like how many R's are in strawberry, and it was like kept saying two, and he's just like no. There's three.
Three.
Like here, like
Yeah.
let me help you through it. And it just kept saying like, okay, if I spell it out the way that you told me to, like, no, not the way that I told you to, just the way that it is spelled. There are
Yeah.
three, and it just like would not get it. So I had to then go and check ChatGPT and just be like, how many R's are in strawberry? And it said three, so I'm not sure if it was like
Maybe it got
all
smarter.
maybe it got smarter, maybe that was just a bit
Yeah.
who knows. But
Well, I, for example, have been like sometimes for a movie, I'll be like, "Can you block out each scene in the movie for me?" or like whatever, and it'll be completely out of order. Um, or like sometimes I'll be like reading a book and I'm like, "Can you just like remind me who this character is?" and it'll like give me something completely different. Like I don't know if it's talking about a different book, but I'm like, yeah. So sometimes ChatGPT, you have to be careful.
like you have to, and that's the thing with AI is that it's all just based on knowledge that like already exists
Yeah.
and like human thought process that already exists. So it's just like I know people always think of like the Terminator or whatever. It's just like gonna take over us. And I just it doesn't seem plausible to me because it's like that would require it to already have that programming built into it to know that. But it's like you can't like it can't prompt things on its own, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Mission Impossible 8, The Final Reckoning. Like the
Never
whole
seen it. Yeah.
oh, or 7, yeah, the whole villain is AI. So
Oh
it goes that
wow.
route.
The last one I saw was the one where he was scaling the Burj Khalifa.
I love that one. That's so fun.
Yeah, was it
Hmm.
Ghost Protocol?
Ghost
So
Protocol.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm way out of the loop on that. But anyway, Scream 2,
Yes.
I've got the lovely little 4K steelbook here,
Oh,
which
nice.
is I don't this I had to like pre-order when it came out, so I know that it's available on all the physical medias. I think that it's also the streaming rights are Paramount Plus. So
Mm-hmm.
check it out if you even if you've seen it a million times, just watch it again, because this is one that actually when we covered Scream last week, I didn't have time to watch Scream before we did the podcast, and I'm just like, I can talk about this movie all the live long day. I don't need to watch it again to to reminisce about it. And last night it was like really late. I should have probably gone to bed, but I'm like, I kind of want to watch Scream too. I just want to like get it like more like infused into my brain again, just so I'm fresh for this. Not that I needed it, but just like even putting it on and watching it, like it's just an old friend that you like fall back into. And
Mm-hmm.
I, one thing that like is very curious to me, because I've noticed this a lot, and I don't remember if like I talked about this with Edward when we covered Scream 2 like years ago, but there's sort of like I don't know how you would describe it. I guess like an anti-Renaissance where there's just I don't even think it's like old fans. It might just be like new fans or whatever, but there's just a lot of hate for Scream 2 nowadays.
Really?
It's yeah, like it's not a I don't know if it's a big crowd, but it's a loud crowd.
Mm.
And a lot of people consider this to be the weakest film of the franchise. And I've heard like criticism like here and there, but the thing that always I find interesting about that is that nobody has ever been able to articulate what this criticism is or just justify it in a way. Like there's, people say that like it's slow or it gets really boring, especially in the middle section of the movie or things like this. I've heard criticisms that it's like the most repetitive of the first movie, which is just like could not be like that is the antithesis of what it is. Because to me,
Yeah.
Scream 2 is the one movie that actually does its own thing and doesn't have to rely so heavily on going back and homaging set pieces and things. Um, I've
I
also
Oh,
go
I was just
ahead.
gonna say what I noticed, sorry to cut you off. But what I've noticed in just anytime I've watched any first time watches, I love to watch people's reactions. Not
Mm.
everybody, but I have a few reactors specifically that I just love their reactions. I don't know, they seem genuine to me. So, whenever I've watched the reactions for Scream 2, something I've noticed people say is that the killer reveal, of Mickey was obvious. Like a lot of them are like, yeah, yeah, I totally figured it was him. Like that's what multiple people have said as they're watching it for the first time. So there's that. Whereas then they're always kind of gagged about Mrs. Loomis. But yeah, so I don't know if that kind of
Mhm.
dampens it for if they feel like the reveal isn't as impactful.
I mean, I could say that about several other killers in the franchise. I think like the first time I saw Scream 2, Mickey being revealed, like I definitely was not like a Mickey fan the first time I saw Scream
Oh,
2.
I had a huge crush on him. I was a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Same name crush.
Yeah.
The No, like I think that the thing with Mrs. Loomis's reveal is that it's sort of like Mickey is there to be like the obvious killer, so then it like when Mrs. Loomis comes out, like that lands so much more. And I think this is another funny thing too, because I'll see people like comment online and be like, Mrs. Loomis was the most obvious killer as well. Like people just blatantly throw that
What?
out there and like, was she though? Like, were you watching the movie the whole time and saying it had to be her? Because when I was watching Scream 2 for the first time, she just sort of like background detail to me. Like she
Yeah.
was, a more prominent version of like Linda Blair's character in the first movie,
Kind
but
of a
I
comic relief
never,
almost. I thought she was kind of like a comic because every time we see her, she's kind of flustered and kind of like being walked over by Gail. So I was like, maybe she's just supposed to be a quirky little side character that we're supposed to
yeah.
just,
Yeah. But I
enjoy.
think that the thing with these two, like these two are my favorite killers of the franchise.
Hmm.
But why I think it works so much is because they both have such, I mean, jarringly different motives for why they're doing it. And I've heard a lot of people criticize that like Mickey's motive is really stupid and yet like what he wants to get caught. And the thing is, it's like you have to look at it from the perspective of Mickey the character. Like ideologically, he does not think this is stupid. Like this is something that is like right up his alley. He's talking about like going to trial to get exonerated by like an actual thing of just like Christian groups who are so opposed to horror movies. And I think maybe that's a thing. It just like that's a more like a younger mentality because nowadays like horror movies are so rampant and like it's just like normalized, but like in the 90s and like especially in the 80s, people hated horror movies. Like that's why like there was so much censorship in like the Friday the
Mm-hmm.
13th movies and stuff that you could not be a horror movie without running into some sort of criticism. Like it was just like the devil's work as people
Mm-hmm.
can were concerned. So everything that he's talking about, it might have landed a little bit better if like people were around at that time or just like had like grown up and known that. But I think that everything that he's saying like in his speech, what he's just like monologuing about like everything that he's done and how it's going to work, I think is like probably some of the best Ghostface fodder of the franchise.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I've always loved his reveal. I loved him as a character, and I think he's very earnest. Like he comes across like he really believes what he's saying, like you said, and I think it kind of reminds me of any like unfortunate like school shooters, like people that like write a manifesto and plan on being caught afterwards. Like it just kind of reminds me of that. Like, and also kind of reminds me of like how he like victimhood, like creating vict almost like Jill, but to a less degree is like he's blaming the movie. Like he's just create like he's just such a victim of modern day horror movies. And I think it was also like, in the 50s and 60s, maybe there was this disillusion or this fake thought of safety and like the family unit and everything was safe. And then it's like the 70s and the 80s had all these serial killers that became popular across the country and across the nation. So
Mhm.
they hated, yeah, seeing that on film and like showing examples of it and all that stuff.
Yeah. I also think that like one of my things with the Scream movies is that it's like trying to figure out who the killer is just like it's only like so much fun because like you have X number of characters.
Hmm.
And like I mean like especially nowadays where it's just like okay, there's going to be two of them or like any combination. So you could like conceivably go into the movie like have already like picked out every scenario where it's like if it's like this person or this person or this combination. So to me, it's never really like the surprise of who the killer is not as impactful as like what their motive is and why they're doing it. And I think
Hmm.
that with Mickey and Mrs. Loomis in particular, why it lands so well for me is because, like, firstly, there's at no point in the movie do you consider like this is going to be the motive of this character? Like the seeds are planted, and we definitely see Mickey talking about this in the film class earlier on. And then I think Mrs. Loomis even says to Gail, she asks her like, "What is your stance on violence in cinema?" But they're the only two characters in the movie who bring up this debate. So it's almost like like you can like look at the movie backwards and just think like how smart that writing is that they're basically showing their hand in a very like subtle yet thematic way. And then with Mrs. Loomis, like I'd say that's even more hidden because like all we really get is the stab sequences where we see Tori Spelling and like it's just Luke Wilson is reenacting the scene from the original where they're talking about the mother leaving town, and Randy says
Mm.
like brings up the point of like there are female killers like Mrs. Voorhees in Friday the 13th and
Yes, little
et cetera and so
seeds.
forth.
Hmm.
So it's still I think that the movie does a really good job of setting up what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, like it could be anyone. So the motive is the most important thing. But with Mickey and Mrs. Loomis in particular, like what I like about them is that they're not overused as characters throughout the movie.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, Sam. I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I know that this is a pushback that I've heard from it, and this is something that Sam has told me, who's in the chat right now. But the reason that he doesn't like it as much is because they aren't as prevalent throughout the movie. So it just feels kind of cheap at the end that it's just like it was them or like these people.
Mhm.
Like the movie didn't even do a good job of reminding us that they're in there. I don't, these aren't his words exactly, but that just might be the mentality. And I actually prefer that. I would rather it be someone who's so under the radar that I'm not even considering them because like you look at like Billy and Stu throughout the first movie, like they are very obvious, like they're acting extremely villainous in certain scenes and I mean like I know that like Mickey is like it obvious in a very different way, but I would much rather be surprised by like forgetting that a character is even there, but not like forgetting
Mhm.
about their presence, because I don't think that either Mickey or Mrs. Loomis ever lose their presence throughout any part of the movie where they're not the killers.
I think there's always that split second when Mickey takes his mask off that I have heard, and I can't remember what I thought when I was 13, but I have heard people say like, "Wait, who is that again?" Like because they hadn't seen him in a little
Yeah,
while. But then once he gets it off and like fully you see his hair stick up and he has like then they're like, "Oh yeah, 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 the film guy." Okay. And then of course everyone's like, "Yeah, see, I knew it was him." But I'm like, "No, you forgot about him for
sure.
half the movie."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think that anytime that we did when you rewatch the movie, anytime that we do have Mickey in a scene, it's always impactful. It's always planting a seed. It's always whether it's what he's wearing or what he's like saying to someone or how he's trying to manipulate the situation. I think that everything that is happening with him in the little tiny bits that we do see of him are all very impactful and
Yeah.
meaningful and lead towards him being the killer.
Yeah.
It's not like he was just like someone that walked by and like had no purpose in the movie.
Just
Um,
for context, 45 minutes go by from the last time we see Mickey, which is in the cafeteria, until he pulls off the mask. And that doesn't mean he's not
mm.
there. He's clearly Ghostface running around the whole time. But
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed that's like really interesting about like the structure of Scream 2 is that it has a really long first act. I think the first act actually takes up most of the movie. Like it's longer than the second and third act for sure. I think it's like comes in at 41 minutes, and it's everything that it's doing. Like it's so streamlined, so efficient. Like you have the opening scene, which is probably about 12 minutes long. So
Hmm.
like like maybe 11 minutes. So it's like not as long as the Drew Barrymore scene from the first movie. But once we get into the like Sydney's dorm and we're just sort of like reintroduced to her, everything is so fluid. And like the scene in the quad where we're just sort of introducing all the players who haven't already been
Hmm.
introduced, like Sarah Michelle Gellar's introduced in the classroom with Mickey, and we're reintroduced to Randy. But just sort of like going through and it's sort of like passing off these perspectives because we start with, I mean, I guess it's like where it might actually begin is hard to say because like Sydney and Randy come out of the school and Derek pops up, but then it's not until like we see Gail when she's just sort of like making that beeline to Joel's van, that we're really kind of like in that moment. But like even before that, there's this like intention to and purpose to like every character. We're kind of like doing what I always call like the West Wing or the Aaron Sorkin of it all, where we're like following in front of them with the camera as they're just like walking
Yes,
to
a
us. And
walking shot. I love that.
yeah, and it just
Hmm.
and it's this whole thing which just like Gail comes in and it's just like they're threatening to what? And you
Best
just like,
intro. Yep.
oh, it's fabulous. And
Hmm.
we're just it's so streamlined that like you go from there and then Joel shows up and Mrs. Loomis or as Debbie Salt and then we're seeing the press conference, but then we like bounce over to the kids as it were like watching from afar, and then you have the sorority sisters come up. And actually I wanted to talk about this because Sarah Michelle Gellar recently she did this like huge interview podcast where she
Hmm.
talked about everything, and she was talking about Scream 2 because she was asked about the scene in particular where there's like the promo shots of her with Portia de Rossi and Rebecca Gayheart,
Are you
because he
kidding? She
said
was actually asked about that
she was
finally.
asked about this, and um, he's just like, "What happened to the scene that was cut?" And I think her response, like she might have, like I don't want to say that she like misremembered her own thing or whatever, but like
Mm.
maybe like the way that she explained it, she's like, well, actually the scene wasn't cut. It just like was shortened or something. Because that is you like that is the whole scene. Like this is like 12 minutes of just like the characters going from like to Dewey and then Cotton. So
Hmm.
I think that what was cut is and you can actually see her when the girls are like walking towards Sydney and the group. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in the background. So they had
Hmm.
just walked away from her and she didn't talk about this. I just know this from like research. But I guess there was like a rivalry between the Delta Lambda Zetas and the Omega Beta Zetas of just like who was going to get Sydney
Hmm.
to pledge to their sorority. And like there was this whole thing where Cece wanted Sydney in there, and I don't know if they had any scenes together, but there was just a conversation, and Lois and Murphy were just like, "Well, we're gonna go get her or whatever," and they started to walk off, and she said something about like she called them like starfuckers or something like that.
Hmm. I
Um,
think they should have kept that because that would have kind of planted another seed of is one of the sorority sisters a killer? Like because they want Sydney so bad into the
yeah,
sorority is like is one of them. Um, and plus I'm just surprised because Sarah Michelle Gellar is expensive and she was only available for a certain amount of time and I'm just surprised that like with that time like they filmed the classroom scene, her chase scene, and just this other as far as I know the
yeah.
quad scene, so I'm surprised they didn't just add that in there. It would have been, but I'm sure Wes knew maybe he didn't like the flow.
Yeah. Well, it's because they filmed mostly in Atlanta because that's where the school took place, but then they did like a lot of pickup shots in Los Angeles. So the classroom was a reshoot where they added Sarah Michelle Gellar and
Yes.
Josh Jackson and like all those other because it was like a completely different scenario with a different professor, which you can find on the physical media. But yeah, she would have gone down to film the scenes in the quad there because I believe that the location where we see her like the Omega Beta Zeta was filmed in Los Angeles.
Oh my
So
God, really quick about that, I want to say
yeah.
because I thought this is so cool. That house, a lot of people know this already. It's the same house that was in Hocus Pocus.
Hmm.
But what I didn't know is that it's also in Matilda.
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't know
the
that.
the
Trunchbull's house. Oh
Trunchbull or
my
Trunchbull,
God.
yeah.
Whatever.
Um,
And it's also in Catch Me If You Can, but I have not seen that.
Very interesting. That look at you coming in with
Oh,
the
I took
fun
notes this
tidbits.
time. I actually have notes.
Love that he's holding up notes for anyone listening that just like
Yes.
look like mathematic equations.
Yeah, last week I
Um,
just went blank too many times, so I'm like, I needed to have just a few
yeah.
little favorite things of mine written down.
Yeah, but it is just to get back to the like Sarah Michelle Gellar being on the quad there because
Hmm.
yeah, like she would have flown out to Atlanta for that. So I mean, it is kind of wasteful. And I mean, Amethyst is saying that he couldn't find her in the background, but if there's two spots in particular. The first
I've
one
seen
is
it.
yeah, when she's wearing the same like lavender thing that we see her wearing in the classroom earlier. So it's when Lois and Murphy are walking towards the group, and then we see her again like after Sydney has talked to Gail, and it's like right around the time where like Randy says like, "Oh, I'm gonna go say hi," and like walks off, and you can see Sarah Michelle Gellar in the background, and then she just sort of walks away with Randy,
Yeah.
and then Gail comes out and like surprises her with the interview. So those are the two spots. You can just see her kind of like floating behind them.
Yeah. I mean, I would love just a whole behind the scenes. I could watch, I mean, a whole show on it, like of just like
Yeah.
the filming of her scene, of her chase scene, because I want to know, like, did she have a stunt double? Like, did she, like, how did
Oh,
they
she
film?
definitely had a stunt double because I've seen photos of them together.
Okay, well, I didn't see that. So, like, because I could have sworn that it almost like looks like her being thrown off the roof. Like, it looks like it's
Hmm.
literally Sarah Michelle Gellar being thrown
Well,
off.
they would have, I think they set up a thing for her to like land on.
I'm
So
sure
that
for that
is,
initial when she's like, "God help me, please," and she like gets thrown off. I'm sure there was
yeah.
something right there.
That's
But
not like her doing like the fall that we see is not
yeah,
her, but her getting like when she's just like yeeted, I think
yeah,
is the term.
yeet, yeah,
Yeah, is definitely her. But yeah, I mean, just like just getting back to like the first act structure of it all, because it's just like it's this long scene and there's so much like there like people coming in and out, but it doesn't feel long. And it just like from there it goes to the party, and then like we quickly cut to Omega Beta Zeta, and we have that whole sequence, which is like 6 minutes long. And I love that
yep.
she gets her own scene. You know, I
I
love
love
that
it so
she, yeah.
much. it's my favorite part of the.
Hmm.
That's what brought me into the whole Scream franchise was that
Yeah.
scene.
And
So
she's kind of like on an island of her own in this movie. Like she doesn't really have any affiliation with the other characters. And I mean, normally like that, could have been an issue because it's just like her death doesn't really like land emotionally for the other people. Like Sydney has her, she's just like poor girl, and Mickey is
Mhm.
like, I know. But
Yeah, I
there's
know,
an
right?
yeah. But that's why I think that like from my understanding why the earlier bit was cut where she was being kind of like bitchy about the whole sorority and like Sydney thing is because Wes thought that it might make her unsympathetic, and he wanted her scene to like at least
Mm.
better with audiences when she does die.
Oh, like when Sydney says like that poor girl,
Yeah.
and it's like
Um,
sad music.
and
So
and and
cute.
just like speaking of Mickey and just sort of his impact and like just like the subtle things that he's doing in his scene because like I love the like it's almost robotic when he's just like we are all here for you, Sid. And like his
Oh, here you
like
said.
what he's doing with his acting, like I've noticed like he's like kind of like he's not twiddling his thumbs or anything, but he's sort of like moving his fingers around. Like it's like he's like trying to process like how would a human react in this moment of just sort of like comforting someone who's
Mm-hmm.
like supposed to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And just like what his eyes are doing and all that. And I guess like I always like Sydney, I think is just like the smartest final girl ever. But in these earlier films, there's moments where because he's totally gaslighting her into thinking that Derek is the killer at this point, and she's buying into it. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, Sydney, you don't even know this guy. Like it's just like he's the least affiliated person of your friend group. Like he's not dating anyone. He's just sort of there. Why are you not suspicious of him at this point? But I love that because
Yeah, I wonder
she's learning, she's
whose
growing.
friend was he? I wonder like, how did he join the group? Was he Randy's friend maybe from class?
I wonder if he's even like a student, like he's just because
He just went into that class that
he
day.
just showed. Well, I mean, he does say like tuition's expensive, so I think like
Oh
Mrs.
yeah.
Loomis
And
like
didn't Mrs.
funded it.
Loomis pay for it? Yeah.
Yeah,
She paid
she
for it.
funded everything. But yeah, it's just I like I'm so interested in what that like behind the scenes like their plan and how they went about everything and made it happen. That
Hmm.
and I feel like there's enough texture throughout the movie that you can kind of like piece it together and just sort of imagine their backstory as
Yeah. And
killers.
them working together and then be like, okay, I'm gonna wait in
Yeah.
the car while you do that while you go inside and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna be on the phone while you're running through the house.
Yeah, but you mentioned something about like just like the clothing earlier, and
Hmm.
this is something I wanted to talk about or just like let you speak more to as
Yeah.
well because like in that scene as well with Mickey and Sydney when they're in the hospital, they're both wearing blue,
Hmm.
and it's something that like I've picked up on recently, just sort of like the costume choices in this movie are just so um intentional for just reasons of like making the movie work on a subconscious level because you look at that and it's I don't know if like what blue represents as a color, but like looking at that it's almost like if
Serenity, right?
okay, well there you go. But like if Mickey is like trying to fit in and trying to blend and like be Sydney's friend, like just him like being there like dressed in blue as she's got her like blue denim jacket on, it almost like makes
Yeah.
it like adds to that layer of the character. It's just like this is what I have to do to like fit in or make her feel comfortable with me.
Mm, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, because yeah, blue is like a tranquil, like calming color.
Yeah.
But something funny about the clothes is Hallie in the apparently the actress hated the dress that she's wearing in that outside scene, that blue dress that she's wearing. She
Mm,
was like, I hated that blue dress. She's like, I didn't want to wear that damn blue dress. And she was like, of course, like that's like all the promotional photos that they had of the movie were like was like a shot of them outside, and she's in that damn blue dress. So
yeah.
she hated that most of all. Um, but
I think
I love the wardrobe in this movie. I loved
yeah.
Gail's wardrobe, and I think maybe it was you. Like, didn't you talk about how like she starts off wearing all black and then she like transitions into white by the end because it's kind of like showing her
Yeah,
character
it's
evolution.
well
I don't know
she
if it
has
was you
like
or someone else. I heard
no,
that
I've
from.
talked about this. Like there's
Yeah.
one scene, it's like when she's at the Omega Beta Zeta house when she's one of my favorite lines of hers, just like, "Don't fuck with me." I don't know why I said that like Chucky, but when
Yeah.
Joel's like,
Her
"I'm not
voice
cut
was
out for
hoarse.
this." Yeah, it's just like, "Don't fuck with me." She's wearing
Oh
this
yeah,
like
don't fuck with
brown,
me.
like pantsuit thing, which I mean, I guess it's
It's
just like
black.
no, at that point it's brown what she's wearing
Is it?
in that specific scene. I believe so. But
Oh,
it always like stood out to me. It's just like it's not one of her better uh
yeah. It's obviously
wardrobes.
forgettable. It's
But
obviously forgettable.
oh,
Yeah.
and just such a short scene. But yeah, she's got like the black thing with those like diamond buttons and
Mm-hmm.
um then when we go into like the next day, she's got that jacket with like it's sort of got like white stripes on it.
Kind
But
of like this.
it's yeah, there you go. But like in throughout the movie, just like as her character is evolving, she's sort of like she strips the jacket, like especially when like her and Dewey are getting it on, to
Mm-hmm.
just sort of like reveal the white shirt underneath. So I just like, just like a very like simplistic way to just show like her like character evolution. But there's so much other stuff that the movie's doing. Like you mentioned Hallie and like that dress, and like I think that was very intentional because they wanted Hallie to look like the sorority girls. Like there's
Yeah.
like an interesting like design throughout the movie. Like you notice that like Randy and Sydney are dressed in like darker colors, like especially in
Yeah.
that like opening scene, like they're wearing like kind of like crimson or like burgundy or something like
Maroon.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it always kind of like it makes me think back to Scream 1 of just sort of like the house, like the like Stu's house and just like the walls and that. And it's almost like that color is just like attached to their, I hate using this word, but trauma. And they're kind of like very emblematic of that. Well, everyone around them is like more kind of like pastels and like florals. Like Derek has, I think, like he might be wearing like maybe like a minty color
Yeah.
thing, and like and Mickey's got like the blue and all that. So yeah, with like Hallie
Yeah.
just like trying to like fit in. And then you of course you have Cece and she's got her like lavender on.
I
So it's
love
like
Stacey.
it's almost like they're kind of they don't fit in terms of like what they're
I know.
wearing
Here's
throughout the
edgy
movie.
Sydney walking over with her leather jacket and her leather
Yeah.
boots, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I've
Yeah.
been through some trauma with my cut my
Hmm.
hair off, and
Yeah.
you know,
But then also like in the opening, Jada Pinkett is wearing like the similar like dark red or maroon
blood."
color. So I don't know like if there was like any intention to that, but I don't know. I always find it fascinating just like the wardrobe choices in this movie.
I was watching interviews in preparation for this, and Courtney Cox did an interview and she was talking about Gail and she was saying that in the first movie she just plays an author and a reporter and she doesn't have a lot of money and she wants to do anything it takes to make money and so
Hmm.
by the second movie she's not just like, she's a producer and now she has money and so that's why she struts into the camera the way she enters and like she's so much more confident and arrogant because she can call shots because she's like has a movie made off of her book and and so I just think it's so smart to like have her kind of blow up this way and like so she's encouraging the murder. She wants there to be press around it and publicity just to
Yeah.
make more and more. I think it's so smart the way they went in this movie with her character.
Yeah, just like leaning into like the unethical aspect of her character, which is
Hmm.
just like always where she thrives the most because she's not a villain per se, but it's just like that one of those like, morally gray, very complex character. You're such a complex character, Gail.
Yeah.
But Amethyst was asking like, aren't Mickey and Hallie supposed to be dating? I think that like there's definitely like it seems like he's pursuing her because there's the scene where they're at the
Mm.
party and he's like, "Hey, you want to like dance?" and he does that like shoulder shimmy thing. And
Hmm.
she's like, "Yeah, but not with you. I'll take that guy." And I think that there was more scenes like I would love to see an assembly cut of Scream 2. Like the one for 3 is floating around out there. So like they should put I mean they should whoever has access to this like put it out there because there's so
Paramount,
many
maybe.
scenes that like little bits that were cut out of the movie and for good reason I'm sure, but it's still like I want to see that material, which would probably include the Sarah Michelle Gellar scene And even if you look at the bloopers on the DVD,
Hmm.
there's another scene of Mickey and Sydney, and they're like walking through a hall. I don't know what the context is of the situation, but there's
Hmm.
clearly more. There was like another scene that was deleted where they're in the dorm room the next morning after Sydney's attacked at the sorority house, and it's just sort of setting up the idea of Derek and Mickey are and I guess like Hallie too are going to be like escorting Sydney throughout the day, and they're just sort of taking shifts doing it. So it was kind of like an
Mm.
unnecessary scene to like set up what we already find out later anyway.
Yeah.
But in that scene in particular, Mickey is like being very flirty with Hallie. So it's like, it didn't seem like there was a relationship, but he was just, shooting his shot or whatever. And she wasn't going for it.
I would have, but no. I find
Yeah.
it interesting that the original script had Hallie as the killer, and the actress was really excited for it. Her name is Elise Neal. She was really excited to be the killer, and then before they even started filming is when like the leaks happened. So she knew going like when filming started she wouldn't be the killer anymore. But like she said that she would like try to do certain scenes and certain things like try to be a little extra mysterious because she was like just in case Wes changed his mind and like decided to make her the killer again. She like tried to play it a little mysterious sometimes, and I thought that was just a funny
Yeah.
little note that she said.
And I guess there was another line that was cut that is in like the bloopers where Mickey, they're just talking about like the killer being left-handed, and they're like, Mickey, you're left-handed. And then he's
Mm.
like, I am, but so is Hallie. To like try to create this whole thing. But yeah, like throughout the movie, like the stunt actor who plays Ghostface is always killing with the left hand, which I think is
Hmm.
a nice detail. But to like you're mentioning the like the multiple scripts and stuff. So I've always like kind of been like unsure of this. Kevin Williamson uh came out recently to say that it was always um Mickey and Mrs. Loomis. Um
Oh, interesting.
it was like a strategy that they used to to like purposely fake people out because they knew that there was like so many people that were already leaking spoilers about like when they were filming the theater scene at the beginning and stuff like that. So they knew just with like the advent of like the internet really starting to take off in
Yeah.
where we were in 1997, they intentionally wrote multiple scripts where they just change details. So there's like a version where like Hallie and Derek are the killers with Mrs. Loomis is like they're both working for Mrs. Loomis,
Mm.
and then like at the end like Cotton comes in and he's not a killer, but he's like finds an opportunity to be shady. There's a version where like Dewey is one of the killers. So it seemed to me like at the time I know that Wes said like in like I think in the commentary even that this was a thing and like the script was leaked online, so they had to go and like release a bunch of other scripts. But I know that Wes is like he's done this or he did do this in the past where like he would say something just like he was very coy, and if it's almost
Mm.
like a magician not revealing their trick, that he would just sort of like go along with whatever the narrative is that people believed. So I like Kevin Williamson coming out more recently in like the last 5 years or so to say that it always was Mickey and Mrs. Loomis. Like, I mean, I would believe that to be true just because it's like it is his script, and I don't know why he would have any
Yeah.
reason to lie about that. But just in terms of like what everything is doing with the movie, like that would have to be a hard rewrite of the
Hmm.
material because even like the script like the dummy script that exists online where it is Hallie and Derek, I couldn't buy into that because there's nothing that's really set up with those characters that
Yeah.
suggests it. Whereas with Mickey being the killer, for instance, like there's this movie is doing like a lot thematically just in terms of like the idea of fame and like how that kind of like links several characters together because like you have Sydney who has like all this fame at this point and she wants nothing to do with it. Mrs. or sorry, Gail has this newfound fame and she's just sort of like thriving, like you had already
Hmm.
pointed out. You have Cotton Weary, who's like kind of like wanting his 15 minutes of fame, like he's really clamoring for it. And then you have Mickey, and his whole motive is sort of like based around the idea of fame and this sort of like sensationalized trial. So I just like,
Yeah.
to me, like Derek, like there can't be a scenario here, especially like if they were already filming, but they're just like, okay, Elise and Jerry O'Connell, like you guys are no longer the killers. It's going to be you, and you, like it's just it. I can't see that. Like if they're making movies like that where they're making like rapid fire decisions like that at the last minute, it's the movie's not going to turn out well. And just for how well this movie turned out, I don't believe any of that bullshit about
I
the
mean, I love
horror
that. I love
script.
this theory. I think it's much better to think about like maybe they were just releasing incorrect scripts as opposed to just to yeah, just to prevent the actual script from being leaked. Maybe that was it. I think that's
Yeah,
actually a good idea.
yeah.
Um, because the movie does set them up so well. Like I can't even imagine like if it was just Hallie and Mrs. Loomis. It just would like I can't imagine that going over well. Like I don't know. It just seems weird.
Yeah, I just like Hallie, if like Hallie and Mrs. Loomis, like just
Imagine her giving a
what?
big speech, like, yeah, Sid, and then I became your roommate. And then, like, I just can't imagine. It
I
would be so
mean,
silly.
the thing is, I mean, like let's look at Scream 6, and just in terms of like
Exactly. That
that
did,
killer reveal,
when
like
I said that out loud, that's what I just heard. Yep.
that to me reads as like a script that just was not like that was not developed in a way where they like made several more passes of the material to see like how does this work. So it's just like yeah, like random stuff like oh, and then I became your roommate so I could be closer to
Yeah, because
you,
that's
and
easy to
yeah,
do. Like, yeah.
the roommate lottery can be juked, or whatever the
And then
line
like
was. Yeah,
and they found yeah, and like the finding her on Craigslist, like the random Craigslist ad, like that, her becoming the roommate.
yeah,
Oh, that was dumb. Okay, we can get there eventually, but
yeah. Well, there's a lot to say with that, but
apparently
yeah,
for
I just no, go ahead.
oh, oh, I was gonna say, Nev was really working hard with this one. She was apparently filming, because I guess they were all in like a summer break when they filmed this movie. So like
Yeah.
when they started filming it, like they were all not doing anything else. But then like Sarah had to start filming Buffy, and she was still doing Scream 2. Nev had to start doing Party of Five, and she was still doing Scream 2. So there was the reports. I don't know how true this is that Nev would film Party of Five during the day and then film Scream 2 at night, often going nights without sleep.
Yeah. No, that definitely was a thing. And
Never looked tired though.
no,
Always
she
looked
just looks
stunning.
fantastic. The I know that like Sarah had already like season one was already filmed before it aired,
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
far as I know. So
And then she did
when
I Know You
she
Did Last
was
Summer.
cast in I Know What You Did Last Summer in Scream 2, nobody knew like nobody had seen Buffy at that point.
Yeah.
So like her being in these movies and then showing up, like that was all like pre season two Buffy. So she just like blew up at that time.
It
But
seemed like to me like Wes kind of like heard about the success like Buffy and like who's this girl Sarah? Like she was just in I Knew You Did Last Summer. Like she's gonna blow
mhm,
up and be huge.
yeah.
So let's refilm a scene and let's put her in it and give her a death scene.
Yeah. I think with Sarah, because she had fame already from, is it All My Children?
Was it that one? I know she yeah, she played like a Kendall Hart. She played a villain on I
Yeah.
think it was All My Children.
So she was already like very well known. I think she had won an Emmy
Mm-hmm.
for
So
that.
cute.
So yeah, like she was kind of already well established at that point. But yeah, like everyone like and like Courtney had friends and all that. So it was a lot. And when you think about that, if that was filmed in the summertime, the movie came out in December. So that
Mm-hmm.
turnaround was
Mm-hmm.
super quick. And this is like, let's also remember that Scream came out in like late December of 1996.
Yeah.
So
So a year later they came out with the
not even a
sequel.
year later. Yeah, they're already like in like pre-production by the start of 1997. They're
Mm-hmm.
filming the movie in the summer, and then that post-production turnaround was so quick
Yep.
to get it. And it's just like the movie, it's so seamless, like just like the editing of it
Yeah.
all, the music for sure. Like
Oh, the
I'm trying
music
to
was a
think.
big one.
Yeah.
The budget went up a lot for this movie, so apparently they were able to hire like a lot more orchestra players, and then by the third movie they were able to hire a full orchestra. But yeah, for this
Mhm.
one, the music is so good. Like Gail's chase scene, I love Gail's music. Like
The
it's so
strings,
good.
yeah.
Yes,
I think that like Scream 3 probably has the best score and like for that reason
that would be
in
why. Yeah.
particular. But I do love like there's just like several cues in here. Like I always love the one when they're in the police station earlier on when they're just like going through the names on the chalkboard and it's like there's a copycat killer and there's this like that goes over that
Mm-hmm.
moment
Mm-hmm.
um that always stands out to me. But I know that the Dewey theme, as it's come to be known
Mm-hmm.
as,
Yep.
was music that was already composed by Hans Zimmer for the movie Broken Arrow with
Mm.
John Travolta and Christian Slater.
Oh.
And they used it because like a lot of the times what like productions will do before a score is laid over the film is that they'll just sort of like borrow music from other movies. Like I think Urban Legend used the Scream score for that just to like show it to
Yeah.
like test audiences. And
There's a few movies that have done that, and I'm like, I recognize the score from another movie, 100%.
yeah.
Like, oh, H2O did that.
Well, I mean, I'm talking more about like just like in place of it before like the score goes in. And
Oh, okay, never
then
mind, different thing. Yeah.
no, but no, you're on the right track. But the thing with this is that they put that in and they liked the music so much that they like first they asked Marco Beltrami to make his own rendition of that, and he did, and that exists on the score as it is, but they weren't like quite happy with it, so they're just like, okay, we're gonna pay Hans Zimmer or like the studio that like has Broken Arrow, whatever cost it is. Like I think it probably like to get music licensing rights is like very expensive. Like they're
Hmm.
looking at like several $100,000
Yeah.
possibly. And they got it, and that's like we can hear it. There's like several moments, obviously with like Dewey, but then there's like when they're getting looking through the videotapes and they're like, oh, we
Mm-hmm.
should look into this. And there's like that kind of transition to like from day to night, and that's more of that. It's called Brothers is the name of the track for
Oh,
Broken Arrow. If anyone wants to like look it up and like hear the full version. But they
it's so
also
whimsical.
yeah, they also had music by Danny Elfman for the Cassandra aria. So this
Oh,
was like,
yes.
yeah, this was like really loaded in terms of um, like musical compositions. But then you also have the soundtrack, which I mean you kind of alluded to earlier, just in terms of like the more like the actual like lyrical music that we get. And I
Yeah.
think this is probably my favorite
Like,
soundtrack.
like with, yeah. Oh, I had it. I remember I loved it. I loved the song that plays when Cece dies, and I loved the song that plays when Randy dies. Like big A, little A, bouncing B. Like, they're walking
Hmm
to with the radio. I used to love that song for like
hmm
no reason. Just blasting it.
Yeah, like all of it. Like she's always in my hair. We get uh the the cover of I Think I Love You, the ska version
Yes.
that's
Oh,
like
I
the
love that one.
end.
It's the
Yeah.
fast, like sped up version. That was so
Bow,
cool.
bow, 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 bow,
Yes.
bow. Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, and then you mentioned like the collective soul, the that she said, which
Mm-hmm.
was actually it was originally supposed to be Bittersweet Symphony, but I guess maybe that was like too
Oh.
expensive and they like drew the line there. Because actually, I think the Rolling Stones own the rights to that song.
Okay. Well, it works better in
Unless,
Cruel Intentions anyway.
yeah, and for Sarah Michelle Gellar,
Yeah.
she got to have that one. So I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, it probably would have like thematically worked better for like Sydney at that point, and like after all of her friends were dead.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I kind of like the juxtaposition of
I
it.
like the upbeat vibe.
Yeah.
She's walking away like she should be smoking a cigarette. Like just like I can't believe I just like going through that. I have to call my freaking dad. Like, God, Dad, you'll never guess what just happened again. Like,
I'm
hey, can I
surprised she
come
didn't.
live with you? And can I never be? Can we go to witness protection?
I'm
Um.
surprised. Like, I'm sure that there must have been like a point in the movie where she called her dad or something. But
Oh
that guy's
yeah, I would
always
have called him
away
right
on.
away. That's so
Yeah,
funny. I never even thought about that. I'm like, Dad,
he's
wait, murders are happening.
yeah. Well,
Pick
he's
me
it
up.
doesn't. They say something. Mrs. Loomis says something. They're just like, is Neil Prescott or says, well, he's away on business. Is I think what she said.
Okay,
So
listen, Dad, your daughter needs help.
Yeah.
right? I don't think I'd ever leave my child again if what happened in the first movie happened to my and if I was
Yeah.
kidnapped and my child went through what she went through, I would never leave. You're never leaving my sight.
Yeah.
I'm coming to
But I
college with
mean,
you. I'm going to be a janitor at your school.
but I mean, and no offense to the actor or the character, but I don't miss him in this movie.
No, not at all. Oh no, I
Yeah.
don't. And like,
Yeah.
and they had him back for the third one, which is cute.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. For the one little scene.
and then but I will say this is completely irrelevant, but like,
Hmm.
I've always thought it was so weird that like Sydney randomly has what is it, her cousin in Scream 4?
Yeah. Jill.
That, but wait, what is, and so what is Jill's mom to her? Is that
So
her
Jill's mom is Maureen's sister.
sister? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I guess that's not weird then, because it's like you don't have to know everyone's whole family. That's fine. I
Yeah.
just remember being like, well, where were you in Scream 1?
Where were you in
And
1996? How come you
yeah, why didn't
weren't?
you come help? Yeah, why didn't you come help Sydney? Why didn't you pick her up and say, hey, come live with me? I'll be your new mom after your mom was, after
Yeah.
my sister was brutalized.
Yeah. Or like if well, I mean Sydney is like 17 at this point, but like, like they'd be like, you're gonna go stay with your aunt while I'm away on business. But
Yeah,
I think
she
like
has a
at that
newborn
point,
daughter. She has a newborn,
a
like, young
newborn.
girl, a newborn. Oh my God, she's from New York.
When are you gonna come and see the baby?
I have a newborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So yeah,
I
she should
mean,
have just
all retroactive. Like same with Roman existing all of a sudden.
maybe because the mom like went to Hollywood and became like a huge promiscuous person, and like maybe it
Yeah.
just was bad blood, and she was just like, you know what, she wants to go off and do her thing. I'm just gonna have my own daughter
Yeah.
and raise her to be a nasty piece of work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, that was unfortunate. Uh, but there was just like speaking of like the closing shot of the movie with like the collective soul.
yes.
Because there's
Hmm.
actually two moments in the movie where it actually was in the script where there was supposed to be a ghost face in the clock tower. So there definitely was one in the initial quad scene where like after the exchange between Gail and Dewey with like the nice streaks, it would have
Hmm.
like flashed to the clock tower to show the killer up there. But they took that out because they realized like that's kind of implausible because then you've removed Dewey as a suspect
Yeah.
because he's right there, and I guess they still wanted him. But also the fact that like all these like what did everyone is in this scene. So did someone just like hurry out, put on the ghost face robe, and then like run up to the clock tower to like
Why would they do that? Just
to
to
to, to
look?
just watch?
Just to
Yeah.
watch it for no reason, like just to be spooky,
Yeah.
just to risk getting caught?
Yeah, and then I believe that they were gonna try it again at the end with like this helicopter shot where we saw like the bell tower, and then there would have been a ghost face lurking in there again to just be like it's not over. And I'm glad they didn't do that because that would have been annoying because that'd been like Roman just that's like some like I know what you did last summer 2025 level bullshit of
Uh,
just like we're just gonna tease a movie that we have no idea what that's going to be at this point.
I I get so upset thinking about that
I'm
movie.
sorry. I'll
I
try
just get
to
so upset. I just
I'll,
like, oh,
I'll try not to
I'm actually
mention it.
sick. No, no, but yeah, I want to say, I will say Sarah Michelle Gellar for this though. She said that in an interview that she signed on to this without knowing anything about it. Like, because I think that's what it
Mhm.
was. It was like everyone wanted to be part of these movies now, since the success of the first one. So she just signed on, and they probably told her she had a death scene, and it would be like this beautiful death. But I think she thought her role would be much bigger, and I think I don't know if she was let down or if she just enjoyed, or maybe she liked that her role. But I think that she thought her
Yeah.
role was bigger.
I
Yeah.
I think well Jamie Kennedy um told the story about something like they were on set and like when they got the script because they were very like secretive about the script like they would just give
Hmm.
them like certain pages at a time. So
Hmm.
he was with her when she got the script of her death scene and she's like, wait a minute, I die? And he's just like, of course you do. It's a Scream movie. Like what did you
Okay, so maybe she
expect?
didn't even know she died then, but like
Yeah.
I think she thought she was gonna be a much bigger role. And I don't know if she felt
Yeah.
a certain type of way or not.
I mean,
Um,
I think that like her role is like
It's
a big
perfect.
role. Yeah.
I think it's perfect. I love that like she had I know you did last summer, she had a great big role, and then I love that like she got to have two amazing chase scenes like back to back, like two movies in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so yeah, I don't really I,
Yes,
I don't know
Amethyst
like
it
how
is.
else like I don't know how else like that role could have been expanded. Like it was just like I think it was done perfectly. Like she like I was saying before, she's on an island of her own in this movie. Like she has
Yeah.
a scene to herself. Like she's Donnie's there.
Wait, is she kind of like the Principal Himbry of this movie? Because she
So
has
I
like
guess
she's included a little bit in the beginning, and then she's like in an island of her own, like kind of how they gave him his own death scene. I'm like, is she the Principal
yeah,
Himbry of this movie?
totally like occurring much earlier, I think. But yeah, that's what it would be. And it just really goes to show like just like the pacing of this movie. And why like I because that feels like it's still so early in the movie. But
Mhm.
yeah, because you have like the first two at the beginning, which have been Casey and Steve, and then Phil and Maureen, and then next would be Himbry, so she would be like the equivalent to that, and then Randy and Tatum would be around the same of that. Also, do you have any opinion of sort of like the dropped, I guess like copycat killer angle? Because this actually like plays into the
Yeah,
Mickey of it all.
I remember like always being kind of confused about that because I never understood what they meant by copycat. Like I understood that they the killers had to seek out people with the same names. They were never going to find a Tatum, so I don't know what they're going to do there.
Yeah.
They were never going to find that. Um,
Or
but
a Hambry, yeah.
yeah, or whatever his first name was though. Um, but yeah, because they kept saying that like, oh, someone's trying to recreate like the murders from the first movie, and like I'm like, not really. Like they're completely different. They just were the same names of people. So I never understood like that aspect of copycat killer. And then yeah, it's completely abandoned. And I've heard that that maybe was who knows. There's rumors about everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my take on that is that it's misdirection. Like it's just purposeful. Like it's a red herring, which is just you expect these to come from a slasher movie or like a whodunit. And with like this in particular, because I always saw that as more of like Mickey's side of the scheme, because Mrs. Loomis like specifically was just targeting Sydney and Gail because they were the two people that played a hand in Billy's death
Yeah.
because Gail did shoot him.
And Randy,
And
right?
I don't think that Randy to me is like felt like collateral damage.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and like Randy never like inflicted any harm on
You're right.
on
She would have left
Billy.
him alone, I think. I think she would have like if he wasn't talking crap
Yeah.
about
It's that's
Billy.
I mean that's what it was. So like the
Hmm.
the thing is that so
She
just
got a
to
little knife
finish
happy.
yeah, to finish my point on the
Yes.
whole the copycat angle is that it just makes sense within like what they're doing. So I'm like Mrs. Loomis probably was just like, "Okay, Mickey, you can do your thing, but we're gonna get to a certain point and then we got to do this." And he's like, "I'm
Hmm.
fine with that, whatever." Like they had their plan together and she had her own plan that excluded him. But with Mrs. Loomis, that scene, like Randy's death, always felt to me like she was calling Gail's phone. She was trying to get Gail on the phone and lure her back to the van
Mm.
in whatever way possible. So it just like things didn't work out the way that they did, but it was just sort of like, hey, you're talking shit about my son, like I'm gonna kill you here. And then later with Dewey, because I believe that that is Mrs. Loomis who's chasing Gail through the that sound studio there, that she
Really?
would be, well, yeah. You think that's Mickey?
I would love to talk more about that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll just say
But
that
finish your
like,
thought. Yeah.
yeah, I'll just say that that is if that is Mrs. Loomis, like she's stabbing Dewey, like because he's there or whatever. But
Hmm.
I think that it's pretty well established with Mrs. Loomis at that point. That I mean, she's a little nutso, but it's she's got her mission and she's going to carry it out no matter like who gets in her way. And if she's like allowing Mickey to kill random people that and she doesn't really care about that and she's like even because I think that she's the caller on the phone all the time too, so she's like she's I can just see like Laurie Metcalf like calling Sarah Michelle Gellar and just be like, do you want to die tonight, Cece? Like that, like fully believe that that is her. So
Yeah.
she's like gleefully like standing by and enabling like Mickey to kill other people too. So
Yeah,
there's no
because
more.
I'm trying to think like because we know Mickey was definitely in the car because he has like the wound from being in the car
Yes.
accident.
Yeah.
Um so I guess that makes sense because I guess he couldn't be in both locations at once. So she would have to
Yeah.
be. So she quickly took off the costume. She ran outside and waited for Gail there um and then yeah, waited for Gail to come out.
Yeah. I just
That makes
wondered like
sense.
I wonder where she got the gun from.
Oh yeah.
I've just thought
Maybe she
about
just had
that.
it. Maybe she just always had
She
it.
just had a gun.
She
Yeah.
just
I
brought
mean,
it with her. She's like, you know what?
look,
I'm
if
like, why wouldn't I
she,
bring a gun?
well, she's kind of like, I'm just gonna make an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference here. She's kind of like the Frank Reynolds, like the Danny DeVito, just like carrying around
Yeah.
guns and like funding schemes and shit. So
Yeah, right.
of course she has a gun on her. But
You
now I
think that
need,
she would like wear a color that's like not white? Like if she's gonna be changing in and out of a ghost face costume, like maybe not have white pants on and like white shoes that you have to constantly change.
yeah, but I mean, I love the cream suit. But yeah, I was gonna say like the thing that's so like neat about them as killers as well is that they're kind of like there's two factions to this movie. Like there's like Sydney is the main character of her storyline and Gail is the main character of her storyline. And
Mhm.
they, you know, they'll come together at certain access points of the movie, like at the beginning with like the rogue interview, if you will. But for the most part, they're separated. They don't like Gail and Sydney don't have a lot of interaction throughout the movie.
Mhm.
So I think that it's really clever of the killers that it's almost like Mrs. Loomis knows that if she was to be in close proximity to Sydney, might recognize her because that's the thing. When Mrs. Loomis walks out, Sydney has that moment where she's just like, okay, she's thinner. She got like maybe like a new haircut or whatever, and
Mhm.
maybe some work done on her face or whatever. But she knew that was Mrs. Loomis. So
Right
it's
away.
like, yeah, so she like the plan would be like, okay, Mickey, you're gonna follow Sid, you're gonna integrate yourself into Sydney's life and her friend
Mm.
group, and Mrs. Loomis is gonna be the one that's like kind of like tailing Gail the whole time, and just like
Yeah.
that's why she says like, how does it make you feel to know that somebody's watching you and like and enjoying this? Like I love that whole bit. She's like, look, local woman. Um,
And she was yeah, because she was like, I felt I was at your other seminar. I was the one in the front row asking all the questions. So it's like she's been following Gail for a while now. Like
yeah.
she followed Gail to college because Gail went there. So
Hmm.
that's so
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So I just like I love that aspect of it that they're it's almost like Mickey is Mrs. Loomis's eyes when she can't be,
Hmm.
in that way. So like they've got a pretty good thing going, and that's why whenever people are like say that Mrs. Loomis is the one that attacks Sydney in the sorority, I just think
Mm.
that that's a joke because like why is Mrs. Loomis like funding Mickey's tuition and all this like essentially paying for him only for her to like create this possible thing where she might get arrested or
Caught,
killed or
yeah.
whatever.
I
You
think
know,
she was on the phone. I think she might have called Sydney and been
yeah.
like, and like Mickey quickly got over there, and
Yeah.
I think she was on the phone a lot of the times,
Oh,
and I
no,
do,
that's
and I do love to think of her in the car, like the getaway car in the beginning, like the opening scene.
absolutely.
I love to think of her just sitting in there waiting, like keeping the car warm. Like she's just like
Yeah.
keeping it running.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, because like as we can see when they're playing the tapes that the video camera is in the passenger seat of the car that's driving up behind Phil and Maureen. So
Hmm.
absolutely. And in that moment, like when she bumps into Gail, she's like, "Oh, sorority girl." Um,
Oh,
yada yada yada. And she's like, I gotta go. I've got a deadline. It's like, no,
yeah.
she's running over to Delta Lambda, whatever, to get on the phone and call Sydney. And I think originally the line, which is in the trailer, and they changed it for the movie, she says, "Hello, Sydney. It's time, girlfriend," which
Oh my God,
I think people thought
yes,
it
I
was like
remember
an
that.
allusion to like her being Billy's girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Um,
so yeah, little things like that.
I'm so glad that she was cast. Laurie Metcalf, she was saying in an interview that
Yeah.
it was so cute. I think she was kind of like not left out, but she said that the cast was definitely super close, and that she was like, it's hard, coming on to a movie when like everyone is already super close from another movie, and I have such a small part, and I was only, so she was like, but she was like, it was great seeing how close the cast was. So I think she maybe like was like a little bit of an outsider on the set, but I think she said she had like the best time, and that Wes, like everyone had the nicest things to say about Wes,
Yeah.
and everyone did.
Um, well, I
Yeah.
met Laurie Metcalf
I know you
a few years
did. I
back,
think that's so
and
cool.
yeah, I got her to sign this poster. It's can't see it, it's over here. But the first thing she said, or the first thing I remember her saying to me, and she was saying this to everyone who came to her, was well, she asked like, "Didn't I have the best reveal?"
Hmm.
And I'm just like, absolutely, no
Yeah.
question about it. Mrs. Loomis has the best killer reveal of the franchise, as far as I'm concerned, and she
She
thinks so
was
too.
the best at, well, I mean, like Stu is amazing at being like crazy too, but I just think they, at the extreme level that she takes it to, I think like they try to recreate that. I think like Amber tries to be crazy like that in five, and I think like obviously the dad, the cop in six, like they just don't pull it off. Like it just seems so random. Like when they go crazy and kooky, like they just seem so weird. But when she does it, and it just seems like one thing I even wrote down in my notes was that I love her scream, like that, her guttural, like I can't recreate it, but yeah,
Ah,
it's like this
yeah,
like
yeah.
guttural, yeah, like it has like ups and downs
Oh
to it, and it's the,
no,
yeah,
no, yeah,
exactly. I love like her
yeah,
yell. It's so great. No, yeah.
yeah.
And so she was just so perfect for it. She could take it to
Mhm.
that extreme level, and it was so perfect for it. And I think it flowed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I love about like that character in particular, and just sort of like her moral compass, is that she views herself as the victim here. And it's like kind of the opposite
Yeah.
of Mickey. Like Mickey knows like he's the bad guy here and he's doing that. And Billy and Stu definitely, like especially Billy, like knew like, okay, that there's I'm evil. And I mean to a certain point, like he's also no feels that he's like a victim of, whatever the circumstances were around the, like his mother leaving and all that. But with Mrs. Loomis in particular, it really feels like this is a woman who doesn't in any way, shape, or form see what she's doing as being wrong. So she's justified everything to herself in her mind that this is okay to do, and this is
Yeah.
the best way to restore it. And just sort of like that's what I love when sort of like Sydney turns it around on her, and that they have like such great banter. I mean, most of it is
Hmm.
is Lori saying all that stuff. It's just like, you want to blame someone, like why don't you blame your mother, and like yada yada. Like this woman has like convinced herself, like she is obsessed
Yeah.
with Sydney and Gail to the point like she's stalking them and like going to these
Yeah.
seminars, but she's already like she's justified it in her mind that this is all right. And I think that that's very unique for her character, because like even with like a Roman, or like Charlie or Jill, whatever their thing is, it's just like there's a level of villainy to it that just does feel like very cartoonish, where it's just like you look at Jill and
Well,
like
it's
she knows that
selfish.
she,
It's
yeah,
it's selfish. It's the more selfish thing. Like nothing happened to Jill. Well, I
yeah,
mean, Jill's thing was like no one paid attention to me, and my whole life was Sydney, Sydney, Sydney. But like she just, it
hmm,
was more of a selfish desire as opposed to righting a wrong that Mrs. Loomis feels. Like she feels
yeah,
like she feels she's owed this, and like she feels like Sydney killed her son. She has to be killed. Gail wrote a book about it and publicized it, made it into a movie. She needs to be killed. And then this guy Randy's talking crap about my son. He needs to be killed. So it's
yeah,
almost like she takes it as like, if you hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you back.
yeah.
Whereas Jill was just a victim.
Well, yeah, I mean, but even more so, like look at the like Scream 6 killers, which like arguably are the most like intrinsically linked to the same kind of motive. Because I think that for the most part, like every killer within the franchise has had a motive that's very unique to themselves. Even like the like partner killers within the movies have like very unique motivations for why they're doing it. But when
Hmm.
you look at Scream 6, it's like it's exactly the thing. We're avenging like a our loved one who was killed by this person, and they're not playing it that way in Scream 6. Like they're being directed to play it in this like energy that's almost like kind of like manic, goofy, like
Yeah.
getting off on this sort of thing. And
Kooky, like we've all lost it. We've all lost our minds, and we're all
yeah,
here with pitchforks. Like you don't feel a heart for them. You don't feel
yeah.
like you don't feel a mother who lost her son.
Yeah, so it's just like that's why it's just so like when you see that performance with Laurie Metcalf, it just like it hits so much better. And this is no knock against the actors who've played that. Like I'll put that blame on the direction
Yes.
of the movie because like I also met Dermot Mulroney at the same convention and I talked to him quite a bit and I know that he is a wonderful actor and like very accomplished. So it just like it really goes to show just like the one wrong decision can shape an entire trajectory of a movie and just like how that character might be perceived. Because like I think the Baileys are like some of the like they're the worst killers of the franchise, and
Completely.
that seems to be like kind of agreed all around. I mean, maybe there's some people who really love them, but everywhere I look, even people who love Scream 6 are just like, killers are terrible. Like the killer
Yeah,
reveal is
it's
bad.
just and just like yeah, it was so easy. I just like, swapped out my daughter's body for somebody else and then just a little prosthetic. Like these are not simple things. I don't know why you're like whimsically saying that, oh, I just threw on a prosthetic. How did you put a prosthetic on your neck? When did you have time? Like to when did you have
Yeah.
time to like realistically do that? Like I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Well, I mean, there's
Dumb.
so many like contrivances in that movie. Like as like a compared to Scream 2, where I think everything is just very like simplistic, that you don't
Yeah.
need to have Mrs. Loomis coming at the end there and just being like, oh, and then I did this and I faked, like all of the explanation is very natural with the dialogue of just like, no, this is 30 pounds and a lot of work later, but
Yeah.
however much weight she lost and just things like that. And you just put it together, and that's why like rewatches are like so good because you can go back and you hear like the little tidbits there when she says like I was at your seminar 2 years ago. I was the one in the front row
Hmm.
asking all the questions, and it's just like of
Yeah.
course she was like she's just been like on this and like you don't need to do a lot of work in terms of like exposition and dialogue because it's like the work is already doing that for you, and that's why like this movie works so well. And I mean, just
Hmm.
like to jump back to like what I was saying about the pacing of everything, because like the first act is very long and just like I mean it's not even really that long, but like in terms of like the rest of the movie, because like Act Two goes from like 41 minutes, I think that it like goes to like 75 minutes. So this is like
Where does
all
Act Two
really
begin, you think? Where does
so
Act Two
act
begin? After
so
Cece's death
no. So
or
Act
before it?
Two for me begins in the hospital. So like the moment where like Sydney is like standing there and she's watching like Derek has just been cut and Dewey
Yeah.
is tending to him. That's sort of like a turning point because that's
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
that's what
like
I meant.
it changes the trajectory of like the movie for the character. So like up until now, like Sydney's biggest struggle has been like I don't want to join the sorority and like et cetera and so forth. This like redirects everything with her. So from this point on, it's just sort of like someone is targeting me again. What am I going to do? How am I going to like, be in this play, et cetera, and so forth. And then Act Three ends, or sorry, Act Three begins when Gail has her turning point where she realizes like, okay, I don't want to just do this for the fame. Like this is personal now. This
Mm,
like hits close to home. So
yes.
she just wants to find this fucker. So it's almost like and like that even for Sydney at that point, like she loses Randy. So it just sort of like it's whenever the movie like redirects itself. So it's with Act Two, it's pretty quick. Like there's a lot of like short scenes, like maybe that like last a minute or two. I think the cafeteria might be like a little bit longer. And
Mm.
I kind of love that scene. I want to talk about it in a bit, but you have like the everything that goes down in the theater, Randy's death, and then it's like Act Two is over before you know it, and then
Yeah.
like the whole like everything from that point on is just sort of like no holds bar, like high octane, like just like these really like
Set
drawn out
pieces.
set pieces that are just like
Yeah.
intense, and there's so much suspense, and that's all the third act going into like the finale, which is like 18 minutes long. So I don't understand when people just say it's just like it's slow and just sort of like it's just a little too repetitive for them, because it's like I just see a movie that is like very sure of itself, just very efficient with everything that it's doing.
Yeah.
And the cafeteria scene, I'll just speak to, because I think that it is a moment for Sydney, absolutely, because it's almost like this like nice sort of like safe haven in the midst of all this, and just sort of like a reassurance. But it's also like it sets so much up. It sets up like the this drama between her, Mickey, and Derek, and sort of like just like the seeds that are planting, because like everything that Mickey does at the end, or just sort of how he kind of manipulates her and gets out of under her skin. We don't see like I don't think that any other killer in the franchise, other than maybe Billy, has affected Sydney on that like such a cerebral level of getting her to doubt herself and other people. It's just
Mm.
like that's never been repeated in any of the other movies. So I feel like everything that like lands so successfully with that in the final act is all because of like the structural work that's being done in the cafeteria scene, of just sort of setting up like the whole thing with the Greek letters. And it's silly and it's hokey,
Yes.
but it's such a nice like it's very 90s. It's very like
Hmm.
lighthearted, and it works so well.
And that's definitely something you could miss, like the first time you watch the movie, like about the letters, like about like the importance of like him giving up his letters.
Hmm.
And then like later on when he's like kidnapped by his like friends, you're like, wait, why is that happening? And it's like, oh, the letters thing. So
Hmm.
that's one of those little details that like it's so fun on rewatches to like hear all those little things. Like, oh yeah, oh my God, that makes sense. Like that's why that happened.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah.
Amethyst is also saying, I love watching out for Officer Andrews clapping along during Derek's song, which is another fun, like, I love just like any details that I can find in the Scream movies. But in like the big wide shot where everyone's
Hmm.
clapping, you can see Andrews, which is like the younger detective, he's like clapping. And then the older one just sort of like
Oh,
looks at him and he's just like, don't do that, like, cut that out.
that's so
And
funny. I've never
he,
said that. Never seen that.
yeah,
Oh my
he kind of
God.
just like hangs his head in shame.
Hmm.
And then for whatever reason, this Lois and Murphy are not clapping either. They look kind of pissed off for some reason.
Um, Lois and Murphy, I read that Denise Richards auditioned for one of their
Oh
roles.
wow.
So
I
I could so
wonder,
see that, like her long straight brown hair. I could so see that.
mhm. Would she
Um,
be, who do you think she would be?
I think she would be like I think she would have been Rebecca Gayheart's character for some reason.
I see, I think she would have been Portia.
I guess Portia just played that
Yeah.
role so well, and she was like so memorable in it that I can't
Yeah.
see Denise doing that.
It's it
Whereas
I
I can see
mean
Denise playing that like that side stupid kind of role.
that yeah, that kind of role. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, because like love Rebecca Gayheart, love Urban
Love her
Legend,
so much, and
love
she's so
everything,
stunning in that.
but she is outshined by Portia de Rossi, and I don't think that's any fault of
Sydney?
it. Yeah, it's no fault of her own. It's just that like Portia de Rossi has like the bigger lines, because I
Yeah.
love when she's like, "Hi, Sidna,"
Yeah.
and
Hi, Sydney.
Sidna,
And
and
hello, Pledge.
hi. Oh, I really mean that. Hi.
Uh, no,
Yeah.
I really mean that. And the way they talk is so meaningful.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
no, it's so
Yeah.
true. And and I did and I don't know, I always thought it was a rumor that in the background of that party scene was Matthew Lillard. I always thought that was just a rumor, but then today watching behind the scenes clips,
Yeah.
like he was blatantly there. He talks, he's like, where do I go? Where should I be? Continuity. He was
Yeah.
like making jokes and stuff.
Yeah, bleach blonde hair. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
We were also I was mentioning to you before we started that it always looks like Rose McGowan in the movie theater at the beginning.
Yes.
The girl who's like covering her ears, and we see her a few times, and just like, is that like she's got like the flippy Tatum do?
And it's because it's like the same I hate to say it, but poorly blonde, like poorly bleached blonde hair. Like
Yeah,
Rose McGowan for that movie for Scream, I mentioned it last time that she quickly got her hair dyed blonde. It was a very quick. She went from black hair to
yeah,
blonde as quick as she could. So that's why it was like that like brassy yellow blonde, and
yeah.
so this girl in Scream 2 had the same kind of brassy yellow blonde. So it's like
Hmm.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
very
funny
much.
that like everyone has short hair in this movie. Like
I
all
know they all
other
cut it
than the
off.
sorority girl, like they've got the long hair, but like Gail, Sydney, Hallie, I mean
Hmm.
even
They
Cece,
all have the same
Jada.
haircut.
Um, but it's the same haircut, but it's not like they each pull it off in a very
Hmm.
specific way that it doesn't like it works. And I don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm like watching the same character with everyone. And
I wonder if it was like, was that, do you think just a very popular style in 1997? Or do you think it was like the director of Harry Potter 4 when when like he wanted everyone just to have long hair? I don't, do you remember like in Goblet of Fire, like everyone had randomly, like all the
no.
boys had long hair in that movie, and it was a very specific, weird directorial choice.
Oh wow.
So I wonder if that was the thing for Scream 2. Like, was it supposed to be like everyone have short, cool haircuts that are similar,
Yeah.
or was it just like a very popular style in 1997?
I'm
I
not
don't remember.
sure. Like I
I say that
mean,
like I wasn't alive yet, but I'm like,
Courtney Cox like pulled it off the best. Like her
uh,
streaks will always
yes,
be they will reign supreme. That is as far as I'm concerned, like Gail's best looks were in Scream 2. And
100%.
you didn't need all the colorful pantsuits to do it. She didn't have
I
to have
know.
the full rainbow.
Well, she evolved. I think she evolved from that. Like in the first one, like and especially even hearing her say that today in that interview, like I can see her being a reporter that's like wearing flashy, like she's doing anything she can be noticed. Like she wants to be like, I want to be seen. I want to be remembered. I want to, I want to do anything to be the
Yeah.
best and to be like, number one. And now in this one, she's just so like she's in a suit almost because she's like a producer. She's like a
Yeah.
more of a boss. She doesn't need to do all that flashy flash.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I have a question for you.
Ask me.
What do you make? Because I asked this to Edward. We talked about this, or actually, it was kind of a debate when we covered Scream 2 way back. I always took Dewey's nice streaks line to be kind of like flirtatious. Edward thought that it was an insult or meant as an insult.
I think I think in his heart he truly thinks she's gorgeous and beautiful and like but I think he's saying it like as a dig. I think he was saying it as an insult. Like
Hmm.
I think he was like nice streaks. Like I don't know, like
Yeah.
almost like to make her feel self-conscious a little bit.
Yeah, so the way that I interpreted it was that it was like almost like he just spent like all that time just like cutting into her that it was almost like I gotta like give something because it's just like but you look fabulous and I'm gonna give you that
I
sort
like
of
that. That's a
thing
positive
and
way of looking at it.
yeah and just sort of like just to set up that like there is like a chance between us but like
Nice
you know like
streaks.
but only like all I really like about you is just like physical at this point like
I
I don't like
guess
your personality but I'll just say like if you look at his mouth like he's kind of like he's sneering so it's like it's kind of like an insult but if you look at his eyes he's looking at her like very longingly so I always like interpret it as kind of like yeah I'm into
I
you
think you could be right. We've seen it done a little bit more obviously in other movies where someone's like yelling at someone and they're like, by the way, I love your outfit. Like where it's really
Hmm.
obvious that they're doing that, whereas maybe he was doing it in a more subtle way, where it's like he still looks like he's pissed off as all hell. He's like nice streaks, like the most he can
Yeah.
get himself to say.
Amethyst is saying Gail seemed a little taken aback, but yeah, I think Dewey tried to deliver it as an insult, but he really meant it. Yeah.
Like I think he thinks she looks gorgeous, but I think
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
the Jackie said check out the news girl also had a very short hair. That's so true. When she runs up to them, it's like the three of them are just in the same short
Check
haircut.
out the news.
I just
Yeah.
imagine like there was like one like hairstyle sunset and she was like, I want to give everyone haircuts. Like let's go down the line.
Yeah.
And then they got through like most of the cast and they're like, maybe with Sarah we just like kind of leave it, let's flip it out and
Yeah.
not cut anyone else's hair actually. Um
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this. I forgot to mention when we were talking about the theater scene. I wanted to mention that Nev loved doing that scene because she was a theater girl. She was in Phantom of the Opera. She was like a one of the lead dancers in Phantom of the Opera before she was an
Hmm.
actress. So she loved being able to do like a stage performance as well as inside a movie.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought that was cool.
I love that scene. Do you think that because this is another debate that I had with Edward. Is that a hallucination of her seeing Ghostface, or is that actually Ghostface?
I think it was actually Golf Faith.
Goth.
I think it was actually Golf Faith.
Yeah.
No, I think it was really him because if not, it kind of takes the steam out of it.
Yeah.
I think it was, and I think it's so clever because the masks kind of did look very similar. I do
Hmm.
think it's funny in that scene that like everyone that she knows, like the sorority girls, everyone that she knows is in drama club.
Yeah.
Um, like yeah, but yeah, no, I think it did really happen, and I think. Because if you watch, like, you can clearly see the person even run off. Like, if
Yeah.
you watch their legs, like, they didn't just like disappear. I don't know. So I think it
No,
really
yeah, like
happened.
it's just like at the last moment, like it runs away.
I think it
But
was Mickey. I think it was
I
Mickey just being like a little shit.
absolutely, yeah. And I think that to view it as her like having a psychological episode sort of thing, like
Hmm.
that almost like takes the piss out of her character because it's like she's she's not this like fragile thing, like,
Yeah.
because this is kind of a through line. She's like, you don't have to treat me like glass, I'm not going to break, sort of thing. So just like to think that she's sort of like her mental state has been shattered to the point where
Yeah.
she's performing a play and she can't even trust the things that she's seeing. Like that's just not who the character is. Like she's always aware of her surroundings and knows what's going on. So yeah, it's almost like that like headcanon kind of diminishes the power of her character.
I agree. And Eric, I'm not sure if it was the Broadway version because I know she's from Canada, so I'm not sure, but I know it was the Phantom of the Opera. I
Hmm.
have to go back and re-listen to the interview and like hear if they say it specifically. But yeah.
In terms of if it was Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for
Um,
anyone listening.
yes. I don't know. I'll have to check on that.
Yeah. Amethyst is saying, I just rewatched the scene in slow motion, and yes, the ghost face basically grabs onto the guy Sydney looks up at when everyone reveals themselves and pushes him ahead and runs off in the background. And
Yes.
nobody's paying attention because they're just looking at her just screaming
Her
there
freaking
at
out.
nothing, seemingly. It would have been hilarious if, I mean, I don't feel that the movie ever seriously tried to set them up this way, but if Lois and Murphy had been the killers, because you have
Mm.
they're in that scene, they take off the masks. They're
Hi,
clearly
Sydney.
pissed off at oh God, that would have been great. Surprise, Sydney.
Surprise,
Uh,
Sydney.
and then the moment where they're like just standing there, like, is everything okay?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
heels, legs
In heels,
exposed.
yeah. Some
Um,
guys, something is up at Omega Beta Zeta. Police are everywhere. Hurry!
um, love that.
Yeah. There's just like the dialogue, just like even like the girl that I mentioned that she's like, check out the news. Like all of these like background characters,
Check out the news.
check out the news. Yeah.
I love it.
Also we've got Selma Blair is the voice of Cece's friend on the phone.
Yes,
This was
yes, indeed.
pre-Cruel Intentions.
Yes. And
Mhm.
the cop car scene, the amazing cop car scene, with the cop being hit by the car and like pushed onto the dashboard and then the pole going through his head and them having to escape over the killer. So that scene was originally for Helen Shivers in I Know You Did Last Summer, which is so cool. But because of budgeting and like time restrictions and stuff, they just couldn't do it, so they used it for Scream 2. So I think that's really cool. But that was originally supposed
That's
to, and because Helen's cop cars like start was supposed to start off that way, and then it was supposed to lead into her chase scene.
Is this
So,
in the script for I Know You Did Last Summer?
well, I don't know actually, but I just remember hearing in an interview, um,
Okay.
Kevin Williamson said it that
Oh,
he
okay. Well,
want that yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah, he said that if he wanted it in I Know You Did Last Summer, but because they couldn't do it, so it was just an idea for that movie, but then they
Yeah.
changed it for
Yeah, absolutely.
Scream 2.
Cool. I believe it.
That'd be so
It
cool. I
wasn't
mean,
it wasn't needed in I Know You Did Last Summer though, because
no,
I think that
maybe would have been
that
too long.
yeah, I think that what they did was right and they got the most mileage out of it. And I think that the fact that there's two of them trying to get out of the car, it makes that scene so tense. And people are like criticize it,
Yes.
like, why didn't she just take off the mask? And I think that like you're not really thinking like if you've ever been in a moment where there's just like so much adrenaline
Yeah.
pumping, it's just like you're probably not gonna want to like fuck with the unconscious killer who's just sitting there.
And you don't have a weapon of your own, so you're just kind of like, if he does wake up, like, what do I
Yeah.
do? So like, let me just maybe not do anything to wake him up.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
she could have grabbed the gun off of the hood of the car
True.
from the
But
cop,
you,
which then
yeah.
Mickey takes instead. But you're not thinking about that because you're just like, we gotta get
That
out
would
of
have been
here.
so funny if she climbs out and like Hallie's still in the back seat and she just like, without saying a word, she just grabs the gun, holds it to his face, and pulls the trigger just immediately with no questions asked. Just like,
Yeah.
hold on, Hallie. Now
And then we wouldn't have
opens the door
gotten,
for her.
yeah, we wouldn't have gotten the amazing Mickey reveal and monologue. But I feel
Mickey?
like that's sort of like her moment at the end where she just sort of like coldly shoots Mrs. Loomis after like I'm not fucking around anymore. Like I'm just gonna take this gun and like pow
Yeah.
and just in case and then just drops it like mic drops the gun. Well, Gail and Cotton are like we thought we were bad people. Like who's this bitch here now? And
Yeah.
Sydney's just sort of like emerging as like the most cold-blooded of them all.
Literally, and you know
Um,
that the person doing the like the examining the dead body, what is that person called? I don't know. They'll be like, this was done post-mortem.
yeah.
There's no blood. There's no,
Yeah.
they can always tell that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just like logistically Scream too, because I think with like the Wes Craven films, he does a really good job of like making it feel like it doesn't it like obviously it takes place in our world since there's like the
Mhm.
meta references and everything, but I feel like it sort of all of the rules that are sort of applied to police procedural things and stuff like that are kind of given a pass in terms of things like that, and it's not like she
Mm.
went hog wild with it in terms like it's not like she shot her like a million times or whatever. There was a thing,
Yeah.
but they still did the work. Like Cotton was like, we should probably get our story straight here, et cetera and so forth. So at least they're thinking about that. But then I look at like, like Scream 6, where it's
Oh yeah.
like it's overkill to the point where it's just like I don't think that Sam would have walked away from there without being in handcuffs in terms of
Right.
like everything that happened.
And I'm just imagining because didn't Nev Campbell say that she thought that that was kind of like overkill as well? And like,
I know that Matthew Lillard did. I'm not sure
okay.
what Nev, because like I know that Nev didn't watch 6 for the longest time, and then she did, and she was complimentary of it. But I mean, like,
No, I mean
that's
of
yeah.
of Scream 5 when like when Melissa's just like stabbing her
Ooh,
boyfriend over and over again.
maybe,
I think
maybe,
Nev, like, I can just imagine Nev standing there like watching it all happen. She's like, no.
yeah.
It's like this sucks. This
Okay.
isn't
I
Scream.
mean,
I
it's
don't know.
like, but yeah, it's not. But Sam is a different character from Sydney, so
Yeah.
it makes sense with that. But just like logistically, in terms of how everything works out in terms of like tidying it up in a neat bow. But I know that Matthew Lillard was very critical about the violence. I don't think that he articulated it in a way that like people understood because they were like sort of twisting it around and being like, all the Scream movies are like violent and there's kills. Like, why you have a problem with it now? And I think that what he's meant to say is like the intensity is not really about the suspense or the horror. It's just more about the
Gratuitous.
yeah, like it's just like there was something in like the most recent Scream movie that just didn't feel like it was horror when people were being stabbed in a certain way like they were and just like in like public environments and like random people that weren't connected to it like they just like kind of lost that the suspense that was so carefully curated for especially this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Do you got anything else in your notes there that you wanted to discuss?
Apparently Wes Craven chose David Warner as the drama teacher, as Sydney's drama teacher,
Hmm.
the older man, because he really loved his work in The Omen. So that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
and also David Warner was originally, I believe, going to play Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. How
Yeah,
wild that is.
and
He did say that.
and then yeah, it just ended up being Robert Englund. But I love that character, Gus. What he says something very profound. He's like something about like the battle art. The battle for the soul takes place in the form of art or something like that. That's just such a great scene between them, just like this conversation.
Yeah,
When
it's
I
like
first
randomly
saw,
really deep and like so
yeah,
good.
when I first saw Scream, I wondered it like when she goes to the theater at the end when like the lights come on, like the sound and all that, if maybe
Mhm.
he was the killer. So I thought that for
Imagine.
a second. Yeah.
One thing I will say I always found kind of weird is like what was Cotton doing on the campus at night? Like what was he doing in the film lab when
I
he bumped
mean,
into Gail? Like why were you there, Cotton? Like why did
what
you like
was
not only sneak on the campus that you don't belong on, but you also like went into the film lab? Like I just thought like I thought that was kind of random. And then like maybe he heard the music playing in the theater like Sydney did, so maybe he was like, let me see if anyone's in there. But I just think it's so
yeah.
funny that Cotton's just wandering around this campus at night
What do you
after he
think you
was
could
checked by the
do? Just
police.
wander around campus?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I love that he's sort of like, what is he even doing there? Like he's like,
What are
okay,
you
for
doing
the
there?
interview, sure, but then he shows up at the library. He's wearing a Windsor College sweater. So he's just like went to like the
The
gift
gift
shop
shop. Yeah.
and got a sweater. Like he's trying to fit in with the students. Yeah, there's not like he's just a weirdo. I love Cotton. I think that like he is
Oh,
probably
I love him.
the best red herring of I mean he's a red herring that's done correctly. Also just real aside, Brian James Tube is confirming the battle for the soul is fought in the forum of art. Thank you. Is the quote. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, like it's I feel like the Scream franchise like it always there's always like a red herring or like that like just the chief suspect or whatever. And I think in Scream 1 it was the dad, but that doesn't really count because he wasn't really on screen ever. In Scream 3 it was probably the Lance Henriksen character, and then the ex-boyfriend, Jill's ex-boyfriend in 4. And I mean, I
Hmm.
guess like Kyle Gallner in 5. And then they tried to make Kirby the red herring in 6, which just like fell completely flat on its face. But I look at Cotton
Yeah.
Weary and like he works so well just because, I mean, first of all, just like a phenomenal actor, and like his performance and everything that he's doing is so shifty and so great. Um, but just in terms of like the character and like what I was saying before of just sort of like how he's linked thematically through like this shared idea of fame amongst the characters. And he's kind of like if you look at like the killers, like Mickey's motivation is fame and Mrs. Loomis's is revenge. And you can look at the character like Cotton Weary, where it's just like, what would his motivation to kill Sydney be? Would it be fame or would it be revenge because she was responsible for putting him away in prison for 2 years? So
Mm.
it's like there's just so much rich history in this character. And I mean, all he was really was a cameo in the first movie.
Well, and maybe if he like did successfully kill Sydney in Scream 2, maybe that would just mean even more publicity for him. Because it's like, oh, how do you feel being the sole survivor? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they
so
hear whatever Mrs. Loomis was trying to sell him on.
yeah, exactly.
She put you in prison for a year. Personally, I think it's rather poetic.
Well,
A lot of alliteration.
he was so like desperate for fame, and then I love that Jill was also so desperate for fame.
Yeah.
It's such a big part of these movies. It's like wanting to be, and it's so relevant to our society and like to culture.
Yeah.
Everyone wanting to be noticed, everyone wanting to be like, seen.
There's nothing, I mean, like, please, like, watch and listen to the podcast, but like, I don't want to be like recognized or anything. Like, just I'd rather just go about my life privately. So I don't know. I don't relate to the Cottons and the Gales and the Mickeys of the world, but like I'll keep watching shit about them.
Yeah, because they're so
Yeah.
much fun.
Hmm.
And just I love this movie. I love that we got to talk about it. And it was yeah, it brings back so many good memories from when I was like in my teen years
Yeah.
discovering
No,
horror.
very good. Yeah, it is one of those like seminal 90s classics for
Hmm.
sure. And I certainly think that I mean like Scream original is like a perfect movie, more or less for me. But I just think that this one does everything that does and so much better.
I
Just in terms of like it's just so much more suspenseful. I think that the character evolution of what's going on is just it works. And I mean like Billy and Sue are great, but I just think that like Mickey and Mrs. Loomis are just I find them more interesting as characters, and then you cotton weary of it all, and just like the college setting,
I think
college
I
slashers for the
remember
win.
I think I remember you saying in a long ago video
Mhm.
that like movies made in like the like mid 90s, like early mid 90s, like had a very specific like vibe to them and feel like so the first Scream even kind of felt like that a little bit. Whereas like by the second movie it kind of felt like the next like the late 90s, like it felt like a different vibe and like a different
Yeah.
like quality of movie.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, this is like by the timeline, this is supposed to be taking place in 1998 because it's 2 years after
Yeah.
the events of the first movie. There
But
certainly is
I do
like
notice that.
I think the best reference I can get for that like for anyone who's a fan of like the James Bond movies, if you watch GoldenEye, this was the Pierce Brosnan's first movie that came out in 1995, and then watch Tomorrow Never Dies, which came out I think like the same time as Scream 2. It's like December 97. And it's just like it's the look and the feel of it. I mean, like Tomorrow Never Dies is a very technologically forward movie. It's like worked heavily into the premise, but it's almost like night and day in terms of just sort of like it everything feels a little bit more digital, where I know that they were using a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
small scale models when they were filming GoldenEye still. So just like in that 2 year span, so much advanced within the industry.
Yeah,
And it keeps going. And yeah, I mean, sometimes for the better and then sometimes not. But yeah, we'll have to look out for that when we cover Scream 3 and just see like how it shifted
absolutely. Well,
with
that's
that one.
when, well, then we have like a whole device that doesn't even exist. I guess it would now with AI, but
Hmm.
the voice changer. Um, Ad
Mm.
Adrian Phillips asked the sorority girls Zodiac, Zach. I know what I think they are personally, but I wonder if it's the same as what you
Let
think.
just Lois and Murphy.
Yeah.
I don't I don't think I could come up with that. I would need like a lot more time because it's I don't think there's enough character on the
I
surface.
see, well, I see the blonde one as Aries, and I see Rebecca Gayheart as a Leo. Because they're both like that's like kind of in your face, like wanting to be like seen and like hurt and just like thinking highly of themselves kind of in a way. But like
Mm.
Rebecca Gayheart, Leos are a little bit more sensitive with it, so she's a little bit more quiet with it, whereas like the blonde is a little bit more like in your face and a little bit more confident. Maybe she's more of a Sag. I don't know.
I mean, I
But
love
yeah, so maybe Sag
that
and
you thought
Leo.
of this. And as Amethyst pointed out, that the cops are Gemini and Capricorn, as Sydney tells us. She should have told us like the signs of like more important characters, but I still think that Mickey is Aquarius. At
Ooh,
least in
okay.
like
Hmm.
the roulette game of like all 12 of the killers.
Okay. Oh, I would
Yeah.
love to go over that, like a zodiac discussion. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I mean we can do that in maybe one of the next couple of episodes. But I think for sure Dewey, Cancer,
Hmm.
Gale, Sagittarius.
Gale Sag. Okay, yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
Hmm.
And what'd you say about Sydney? Do you think she is?
I don't know.
Sydney?
Sydney? Sydney? Maybe like a
Um,
Capricorn.
okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
And what about
Yeah.
Cece Cooper? Like that's
DC
a really
Cooper.
she's a little maybe a Taurus because she's a little combative.
Is she?
Like in class, she was like arguing the entire time. She was
Hmm.
like, "You just have a hard on for
That
Cam."
is so moral majority.
Yeah, like I feel like she was
Yeah.
combative. She's like, "No, please, like sequel aliens." I don't know actually what she said, but like
Yeah.
I feel like she was just arguing the entire class.
Are Taurians the only combative
I
sign? Are
have
they
one of
very
my be
combative?
one of my, I have two very good friends that are Tauruses. One
Yeah.
is like one argues just for the sake of arguing constantly. It's just like one of my pet peeves. And the other one doesn't go out of his way to argue, but he is like very good at it. And so I don't
Yeah.
know, it's kind of like a quality I've noticed in Tauruses. They have the bull horns,
Mhm.
like they're good at like arguing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe she's a Gemini.
Hmm,
Yeah.
maybe.
Anyway, we'll never
Yeah.
know. We'll never know.
Well,
Unless
we'll
unless
never know.
well, we found out that Helen Shivers, courtesy of the that movie that shall not be named, her gravestone was, I believe, I forget the date, but it would have made her a Virgo.
I don't even know if I want to like take that seriously. I don't even know if I want to
It's
take
not it's
anything.
not
I
canon.
I don't think I want to take anything that that director, writer, woman says is canon. I don't want to take any of it as canon. I don't know.
We're just gonna
I think
erase it from.
the whole movie is a big fever dream. It's just like Chase Sue Wonders like should wake up at the end and be like, "Oh, I have to go to my friend's like wedding shower today." Okay, great. And
Just have a just
she was asleep on the plane the whole time. She wakes up on the plane. She's like, "Oh, shit. Oh, thank God none of that actually happened.
yeah.
Thank God no one knows what I did."
Yeah.
Um
And then she wakes up and then see Sarah Michelle Gellar sitting next to her and just like pulls out a hook.
yeah, right. Imagine.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Scream 4 with the openings when
Oh
the girl
yeah,
just
the fake
stabs the other
hoods, yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah. All
out of
right.
nowhere.
Well, let us get to the cherry picker.
It's not like we kill people on purpose.
All right, first order of business, we need our cherry on top. Thoughts?
For me, it has to be Cece Cooper. Um, I just love her so much. That's
Is
just my
it?
girl. I feel like I can't not say that. I just love her
Yeah.
so much.
I mean,
Do we have to agree though? So
I
I
mean,
could change
no,
it.
we don't have to. I mean,
My
like,
cherry on the tippity top is always Sarah Michelle Gellar. But
well, I would say Gail, and I think Gail was initially well, like when we did this way back when was the cherry on top.
yeah,
So it's, like I'm
overall,
fine.
I would
Yeah.
say I would say overall for the movie's sake, yes, scale for sure. But for
But
my secret
I
cherry on top would be CC.
look, I was going to concede and just let it be Cece's, but if you want to make it Gail, I'm fine.
Well, I mean, ultimately for the whole movie, do I think she's like the best thing of the whole movie? Yes. Um,
All right, then Cece it
but
is.
um, yeah. Okay. Well, I love her so much. I'm like, or she
Yeah.
could be the nuts on the side of the whatever, but
The nuts on the side
the
of
nuts on the
what? Yeah.
side of the whipped cream.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, last week we asked you who deserves to die the most in Scream, and I nominated Hank Loomis. You nominated Obnoxious Reporter, who's played by
Mm-hmm.
Linda Blair. Across,
Abusive. Yeah.
she was abusive. She was a nasty thing. Yeah. Across Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube, the final vote was 530 for Hank versus 182 for Obnoxious Reporter.
So it was close.
It's very close, yeah. Let's hear what people have to say. Jackie Simmons, Hank, he's a philandering, negligent man who never bears the brunt of the town shame. Maureen, dead a year, is called all kinds of slurs, but Hank is just bopping around, no cares. Also, he knowingly harbors a killer. He knows his son. The look on his face when Billy claims to have done nothing says it all, yet he remains silent. Parents are supposed to defend their kids, but if he couldn't even pretend to believe him in front of the police, then he should have offered up any information he could have. Slasher in suits. He slept with Maureen, but everybody did.
Not
Blue
everybody did,
Box. Blue
literally.
Box 87. Thanks, Hank. We're on top of it. But you're not. You'll never be cherry on top. Whispers ever. Say that part. Say that last part like Tori Spelling and Stab. How does she say ever?
How did she say
Ever.
it?
He's not coming back ever. I don't know.
Ever. I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
remember. I don't,
that didn't stick out to me too much. Although what
yeah.
did stick out to me was Heather
Ever.
Graham's I don't even know you, but I dislike you already.
But I dislike you already. I know that was good.
Yeah. Fear queer horror guru, not Linda Blair as the reporter. Jonathan K. Hank banging Maureen Prescott was the spark that started the entire franchise. Adrian Phillips, the obnoxious reporter, begat Nancy Loomis. For that, I can't vote for her. To my knowledge, none of her offspring have been found to be a murderer yet. Night night, wank Loomis. Eric Champney, gotta go with Hank for all the obvious reasons. Besides, Linda Blair has been through enough. Doshi, TBH, it's surprising they didn't kill him off. Yeah, where was he in like Scream 5? Like he's the grandfather
Yeah.
of Sam Loomis.
He got away with a lot.
He did, yeah. I love the and like the videotape where he's like walking out and he's got the cigarette in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sick son of a bitch.
Braxton Wages. Why wasn't Hank one of the killers in these movies? The whole family were psychopaths and just look at that face. Whale Wolf, the reporter. I don't care. Paul Carpenter, I'm surprised you haven't talked about maybe Hank possibly being a victim. Like in future, I mean, yeah, I mean, he could be. Bring him back to kill him. Maybe he'll be in Scream 7.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll
Maybe we just
see.
spoiled it. Maybe we just spoiled the whole thing.
It's all about Hank.
It's
Uh,
always been about Hank.
it's been about Hank from the beginning.
Such a player.
Silent Saturn. First of all, big welcome to Tim.
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic job. Imagine telling Zach Cherry, of all people, some Scream-related tidbits he's not heard of before. Looking forward to more BTS gossip from the makeup chair. Gotta go for Hank here. It's just not fair that he got away scot-free and Maureen got all the blame when he's just as guilty. Shame the Sam storyline was axed. Would have been an opportunity to bring him back in future installments and maybe build on his character or just satisfyingly kill him off. Giboni, who doesn't love watching the paparazzi get the axe? Grant Dempsey, congrats, Hank, you're on top of it. It being the pole, Hank gets the chop. M. Davis, his son murdered everybody. Get him out of there. LOL. Well,
Is your
that's what we
throat
got.
okay? Is your throat
It's
okay?
okay. I wasn't doing it as, boisterously as I usually would because I didn't want to strain myself too much. That was a very weak Chucky if I ever did hear one, and I'll admit to that. Who do I nominate in this movie? Because I didn't actually think about this. This is so unexpected. I wasn't sure.
Oh,
Um, gosh.
for what? For a cherry picker?
For the cherry picker. Who deserves to die the most? Um, this is really it is unexpected, and I'm just gonna have to pick someone real quick here because I don't know. Um, y-
It's
Last time I
okay.
picked the Josh Jackson character for whatever reason. Um, you know what? Let's go with. I'm gonna take a page out of your book of what you were originally going to do last week and nominate Chief Hartley because like that guy's useless. What does he do this whole movie? He can't even hold a press conference. He easily lets Gail hijack it. I love that
Yeah.
detail when he's just like he has his prepared speech and he just kind of like sheepishly puts it in his pocket once Gail takes over. But yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I think I want to go with he's like, what is the bodyguard's name? The one that's like, don't ask, don't tell. Like that one.
Oh, Andrews,
He just like grosses me out. So I'm like, and he's so useless.
the gay
Um,
one. That's a hate crime, Tim.
true. If you're killing a gay person, it's a hate crime.
Yeah.
Um, but his throat was slashed. So does he deserve to die as much as the idiot that like didn't do anything in that moment? No, I think he just freaks me out. He's like, don't ask, don't tell. That was enough to like, you deserve to die. Just turn around, drive the car, and die.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be it. You know what? I wouldn't nominate this person, but I did want to talk about her for a second because she just really stood out to me on this last rewatch. The nurse, like the cute little Asian nurse who's like bandaging up Derek, and she's just like she's so like peppy and like just given the circumstances that this guy was nearly killed by a slasher, and she's just like, all right, I think you're gonna be all good, but don't try to like overdo it. And then she sort of does this like and walks away. Like she's just super bubbly and happy about it.
Yeah, doesn't give
Yeah,
a
I
fuck.
love her. So I just wanted to
I'm
give
gonna look
her
out for her at my next
a
watch.
shout out. Yeah.
It's great.
But
Honorable mention.
honorable, she's the real cherry on top. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, the healthcare workers, on the line for all us slasher victims, just there to bandage us up.
I think you froze. I think
Did
your
I
video
freeze?
froze. I
I Can
think
you
so.
hear me at least? Because as long as you can hear me,
Yeah,
then we're
I can
okay.
hear you, and you have a nice big smile on your face.
A
So
nice big smile. I can
a
see it right
nice
now on
big
my
smile.
screen. Maybe it'll undo itself. I don't know why that happened, but yeah, this has been really great. If you want to uh, vote for either Chief Hartley or Officer Andrews, don't ask, don't tell. You can
Officer,
head
don't ask, don't
over.
tell.
You can head over to Patreon, even if you are a free member. Join for free, and you get to vote there. You can go check us out on Instagram at the Cherry Picker Pod and follow us there. The polls are up there, and then of course on YouTube, subscribe to us, all that fun stuff. And yeah, vote your heart, vote your conscience. Tim, where can they find you on the socials?
I'm on Instagram, Tim McKay Beauty, and that's it.
And you can find me on my main YouTube channel, Zack Cherry, Zack space Cherry. Retro Bitch Face is my Instagram and letterbox, and then Zack Cherry 8 Twitter. What are we covering? I mean, we already said it, but what's next week?
Next week is Scream Thrice.
Scream Thrice. The thrice time is always the
The nice
hardest and the
time.
nicest. Yeah. Thrice is nice. Anyway, I'm still frozen. So thank
Yeah.
you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will be right back.